What's up, I'm Ian. What's up, your boy? Following a reaction, and in today's video, we have top 10 lowest WWE lows by Paulina. That's how you say your name. Let's get into it.
At the top 10 highest WWE peaks, and today we're looking at the lowest WWE lows. And we're not going to look at random guys here like jobbers. No, we're sticking with top names who hit some rough patches in their careers, starting with number 10, The Undertaker. Undertaker is the greatest character in all of wrestling history. There is no debate about that. The man has had a legendary career. We've seen him win many titles, carry some of the best storylines ever, deliver marquee matches, and go undefeated at WrestleMania for over 2 decades. The Undertaker had an unforgettable career, but there was a real low point towards the end, and it was hard to watch. He just did not know when to hang up the boots. 2017 was the lowest point of his entire run. This is where he faced Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and
He became washed in the ring, and they won't give that shit up.
did not look good. Undertaker could barely move because of his damaged hips. The match was full of botches, and you could tell something was seriously wrong. But worse than the botches was that Taker just did not look like he could walk. It was extremely sad watching a legend who was always so dominant and so untouchable look that weak and broken down. And the dead man kept going for a few more years after that, where he gave us even more stinkers. We got that wash tag team match where HBK came out of retirement for absolutely no reason, and then also
Hey, bro, what was this?
the match with Goldberg where he almost broke his neck on a jackhammer gone wrong. It was rough.
That was 2019, huh? That was a rough year for WWE. Probably the worst year ever. 2019.
Thankfully, AJ Styles gave him a proper send-off at the end, but it would have been so much better if he just retired in 2014 or 2015, so we never had to see this low point of such an incredible career. Number 9, Batista. Batista was supposed to have a massive return in 2014 because after leaving WWE for a few years, the man became a legitimate Hollywood star and came back for a short WrestleMania run. He missed the business and also wanted to do some crossover promo work, and there was no problem with it at all. And WWE set up a storyline for him on a silver platter because Randy Orton and Triple H were terrorizing the company as the Authority, and Dave was coming in to take down Evolution for the second time. The story wrote itself. And then we get to the Royal Rumble, and that's where Batista won the entire thing and got showered with boos. Because the WWE Universe did not want Batista in that main event, they wanted Daniel Bryan to get his revenge on Randy and Hunter. Nobody had any interest in watching Batista win the WWE title at WrestleMania, and because of that, Batista was getting booed out of every building every single week until WWE was basically forced to turn him heel. Daniel Bryan then swooped in, inserted himself into that WrestleMania match, and made Batista.
This was the greatest shit ever, y'all. Like, Brian Danielson probably in my top 10, top 5. Like, any one to go to. Like, that pop, bro, was insane. Like, that yes movement shit was so big, bro. And he the smallest nigga in the ring, a 1v2. Like,
Batista tap out to win the title. And look, Batista has said that he had no problem giving the people what they wanted, and I respect that, but I still think this is a real low because if you think about it, he's a legend who dominated for a decade. Then he left. He found massive success in Hollywood, and he still came back to the sport that he loved because he wanted to give back. And the fans booed him out the building, and that is just sad. He did not deserve any of that. I think the WWE kind of set him up for failure by putting him in that spot when the fans clearly wanted someone else. Batista would have been way better off wrestling somebody else. I personally think we should have gotten Batista and Brock in a
God damn, that clothesline was real as fuck. Boy, that clothesline the fuck out of Brock Lesnar's chest. The sweat flew off.
match, and instead Taker should have fought John Cena. That would have been a lot better. But anyways, he did eventually come back for one final match with Triple H in 2019 where he did get that retirement that he actually wanted. So he did bounce back in the end. But man, it was rough to be Batista in 2014. Number 8, Drew McIntyre. When Drew McIntyre first showed up to WWE, Vince McMahon personally called him the Chosen One. That is a massive stamp of approval. He quickly won a mid-card championship, and it seemed like there were going to be big plans for the guy. However, he never amounted to
Look at Cody, bro.
anything after that, and the
Yo, that look like a punk in this. That boy look like Matt Riddle in this.
WWE then threw him in 3MB, the comedic jobber faction that existed purely
A jester faction. There's a lot of jester characters in WWE, my nigga. Imagine niggas want you, instead of looking like an intimidating wrestler, niggas want you to be a jester character.
to lose and make people laugh. It was a total joke. This man, who was handpicked by Vince McMahon, was now showing up on TV every
Man, Jinder Mahal.
week playing the air guitar and getting squashed. That is just depressing for a wrestler who clearly had a lot of potential. The low point got so
At
bad
this point, I'm surprised Drew McIntyre ain't leave for AEW yet. Like, y'all think we might see him in AEW eventually if he really get tired of WWE bullshit. But he been there for so long.
that Drew eventually did leave WWE altogether,
Yeah,
but to his credit,
he did. He left.
he went out there, he got absolutely jacked, reinvented himself on the independent scene, and proved he was a main event star. So the low did lead to a massive comeback. He returned and won the world title a handful of times, but I'm sure Drew McIntyre likes to repress that 3MB era from his memory. Number 7, LA Knight. We are currently witnessing the lowest point of LA Knight's career in real time. I've never seen someone so over with the fans and get absolutely nothing for it in return. In 2023, he was the heavy favorite to win the Money in the Bank. The crowd was behind him more than anybody, but then Damian Priest won it for some reason. Okay, fine. 2024, people thought for sure this was going to be his year, and then Drew McIntyre won it only to have a failed cash-in on the same night. Then 2025 comes around, and Seth Rollins wins the briefcase when he never even needed it. 3 years in a row, this man got passed over, and despite coming up short in every single big moment and every match, the fans made one thing very clear: we still want LA Knight pushed to the top. Will it happen? Probably not. Triple H has been very adamant about not giving this man a spot on the top. Everyone else will get an opportunity.
But look at Roman face through his glasses.
Before he does. Even WrestleMania 42 is a great example. And look, I don't even hate this feud with Speed, but you can tell they never really had any serious plans for LA Knight heading into the biggest show of the year. He was an afterthought, and the man continues to get disrespected and buried for absolutely no reason when the crowd is begging for WWE to pull the trigger. I hope he does come out of this low point eventually, but I'm not gonna lie, I doubt it. He might just end up becoming one big what if in wrestling history. And that is a shame because the fans did everything they could to get this man over, but the WWE just refused to listen. Number 6, Stardust. Cody Rhodes was always destined to become a WWE superstar. You could see it early on with his character work. The dashing and undashing stuff was great, and then he somehow got a mustache over, which is not an easy thing to do. Everyone also wanted to see him become the Money in the Bank winner in 2013, and then he was the hottest thing in the entire company during that feud with the Authority and Goldust and getting fired. The momentum was right there, so I will never understand how WWE looked at all of that and decided to turn him into
Jester.
Stardust. This man was on his way to becoming
Chill, Stardust was fake fire, my nigga. Like, Stardust was fake fire, I ain't gonna lie.
a top star for the company, and instead they sent him to die in the mid-card. I don't give Cody credit because he tried his hardest to make that character work, but he was never going to become the star he knew he could be while wearing that face paint and doing the gimmick that was not his. So he made the bold decision to leave, and the second he walked out that door, he thrived on the independent scene. He bet on himself and it paid off. He started his
But why that nigga don't go back to being AEU? Like, what the fuck?
own company, proved he was a main event star, and eventually he did come back to WWE, where he won the WWE Championship many times and even main event to WrestleMania 3 times. But it never should have taken all of that for WWE to realize what they had. The Stardust era was a complete waste of one of the most talented guys on the roster. Number 5, Dean Ambrose. For most of his WWE career, Dean
Yeah, he was kind of wasted potential.
Ambrose was very successful. He came in with the Shield, and that group went on to become one of the greatest factions ever, destroying everyone in their path. Then he had a really good feud with Seth Rollins for about a year after the betrayal, and Ambrose went on to win the IC title and then become the WWE Champion in 2016. Things were looking great for him, but then he got injured and was out of action for over a year. And the WWE did finally bring him back after he recovered, and his character immediately became a joke. Ambrose has said in interviews that he was not happy with the work that he was doing, and it only got worse when he hit rock bottom in that 2018 through 2019 stretch. The WWE turned him heel, and at first it seemed promising, but then
That
they
bitch was so hard, that dirty deeds, bro.
had him doing stupid segments like sticking a needle in his butt on live TV. It was so bad that WWE actually wanted to book this man in a match against Nia Jax where he would lose. That was the final straw. He was done with the
Yeah, they was playing on this nigga top. Yeah, get the fuck out of there and go to AEW. They was playing on your top, brother.
company. He left, changed his name to Jon Moxley, became the face of AEW, and has not looked back, and I don't think he's ever going to return to WWE either. Number 4, Goldberg. Goldberg was in his peak during the Monday Night War.
That intro was hard as hell. I ain't gonna lie, that bitch was hard.
He was the hottest babyface in all of
Even though Goldberg was out there injuring niggas.
WCW and quite literally beat everyone. His undefeated streak lasted 173 days. He was the world champion. The man was an absolute monster, and as you can see, Goldberg was a massive success with wrestling fans. But when WWE bought out WCW, Goldberg did not want to make the jump. Instead, he wanted to sit at home and collect his lucrative guaranteed money from Time Warner. You really can't blame him for that. But after a couple of years, he finally made his WWE debut, and let's just say that he should have probably stayed home. The WWE did not book this man well at all. His first feud was with The Rock, and at first it was solid, but it never had that serious edge that it needed to feel like a real dream match. Then he got into it with Chris Jericho and was made out to look like a fool on multiple occasions. The WWE put a Goldust wig on him at one point, and then Triple H was the final nail on the coffin. His load just kept getting lower once he entered that
Got this nigga got retired by Gunther gang. Like, come on.
feud. It all ended with his last match at WrestleMania 20, with both him and Brock Lesnar getting booed out the building since they were both leaving the company. The fans did not care about either of them at that point. I think his second run with the WWE years later was a lot better, but that 2003 run might
Hell no. Later on, hell no, that run was not better. Like, no, that nigga was washed in the ring. Like,
be one of the worst booking jobs for a legend that we've ever seen. They could not have messed it up any worse if they tried. Number 3, Sting. Let's look at another WCW legend that WWE completely ruined. Sting made his long-awaited debut in 2014 when he helped Dolph Ziggler win the Survivor Series match. It was a moment that gave everyone goosebumps. After decades of waiting, Sting finally made it to the WWE, and it led to his first ever WrestleMania match against Triple H. Now, you would think the logical decision here is pretty obvious. Book Sting to win the match. This is the guy's first WrestleMania, and he's a legend, and you gotta give him that moment. Nope, Triple H's ego was way too big, and he was not taking a loss, so Hunter went over, and it was such a bad decision that made absolutely no sense.
man, looking back, niggas be glazed in the 2010s. It was a lot of trash booking and my nigga. Like,
To make that year even worse, Sting got into a feud with Seth Rollins for the WWE title, and I think it would have been really cool to see him win that belt, especially after doing the job for Triple H at WrestleMania. You gotta give him something, even if it lasted a couple of months, but that was not the plan either. Seth would win that match, and things got even worse when Rollins injured Sting during that match and essentially ended his in-ring career with the WWE and also his career for a few years. His entire WWE run was a disaster from start to finish. It was a career low for one of the greatest legends this business has ever seen. Thankfully, things did get better when he joined AEW and went out on top the way that he deserved. They did him right after WWE tried to sabotage his legacy. Number 2, Roman Reigns. Before he peaked as the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns was at one of the longest low points we've ever seen. After the Shield breakup, the WWE desperately wanted Roman to become the next face of the company, but everything they did to try to make that happen just made things worse. They forced him to cut some of the cringiest promos in WWE history. The Suffering Succotash promo was nonsense. Then they had him go over legends like The Undertaker at WrestleMania when nobody asked for it. They even had him covered in dog food at one point to try to garner some sympathy, but none of that worked.
Man, what the fuck, gang? And y'all got Baron Corbin doing it, the big dog, my nigga. Like, come on.
People did not want Roman Reigns as a babyface, and they made that very clear. They booed him every single week for 5 straight years. No matter what WWE tried, the fans rejected it, and the saddest part about all of this is that Roman could have had so many more great years if they just listened to the audience and turned him heel sooner. Instead, they wasted half a decade forcing something that was never going to work. 5 years of boos for a guy who ended up becoming the biggest stars in the company the moment they just finally let him become a villain. That is a tough stretch for Roman Reigns. Number 1, John Cena. John Cena's twilight years were a complete waste, and it's genuinely sad for me to say that because he's my favorite of
Yeah, their retirement too.
all time. After 2018, John Cena went part-time, and from that point on, the WWE stopped trying with him. There was a stretch where this man could not win a singles match for 5 damn years. He deserved so much better than that. The Austin Theory match was not good at all, and then his retirement tour came along, and somehow that was even worse. John Cena did not win the Rumble. They turned him heel with absolutely no plan behind it. Then they randomly turned him back to a babyface when they realized the story wasn't working and the fans wanted to cheer him. And to cap it all off, he tapped out to Gunther in his final match ever. The entire arena was booing the finish of that career, not because they hated John Cena, but because they knew that he deserved a much better ending than that. For someone who carried this company on his back for an entire decade, it was heartbreaking to watch WWE fail to book him properly for basically the last 5 years of his entire career. That might be the most disrespectful thing WWE has done to one of their own. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. If you want to check out the top 10 highest WWE peaks, click this video on the screen.
Yeah, Michelin Council Tribe, and what I'll do is 2010s. The 2010s era of WWE had some stinkers too, y'all.